Welcome back! So previously we accidentally shot our partner and now he's haunting us, but he does give us helpful insights and makes jokes occasionally. Anyway, it's time to start our first official case. Since the cases in this game are quite long, I don't think I will be able to fit the entire case in one episode, but I'll do my best to choose a logical stopping point. Let's get to it! 3 months later. Am I going cuckoo? What is that weird thing?
Miles, wake up! Your house is on fire!
Huh? What?
You see, I told you it was funnier when I did it to you.
Yes. Hilarious.
What's the matter? Have a rough night?
Overdid it on the soporific. Why do I feel like I've had this conversation before?
I'm just glad you're in the mood to converse again. Seriously, you took so much of that snake oil last night, I was starting to think you wanted me quiet for good.
I do want you quiet for good. No, it's kind of fun to have company.
It's no personal slight. I just need some quiet time, or I'll go insane.
I get it. We all need our space. I know it's not easy, but there's really no need.
Not easy. Bill, I've been hearing your voice since you died. You don't shut up unless I take that accursed medicine. I'd say that qualifies as a bit more than not easy.
Yeah, well, how do you think I feel? You think I enjoy being trapped here, listening to you whine about how hard your life's become? You at least still have yours.
So why can't you just leave me alone? I feel like you're making me go insane. Let's ask this.
If you're just as miserable, why don't you just go away and leave me in peace?
Believe me, I wish I knew how. But the bottom fact is, you're stuck with me. So you can either keep living this way and ruin your life even more than you already have, or you can do as I've told you and try to figure out a way to let me move on.
Alright, let's do that. This life isn't all so bad. I think I need to do this.
Right. For the 1000th time, you want me to find the burglar from the flower shop.
Yes, exactly.
I still don't get how that's going to help.
I can understand your confusion, considering it was you who killed me. But the point remains. You wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place if not for him.
You told me to
Once
shoot.
the criminal has been caught and is in custody, we'll both get what we want.
I'm not sure about that. A decent night's sleep? Is that all you want?
A decent night's sleep?
More than that, you'll have that elusive thing you always wanted to give others. Closure.
You do realize the trail's pretty much frozen at this point. Our man has seemingly vanished into the ether.
That's no excuse not to keep trying.
I agree.
I know the cases Upton's been giving you these past few months haven't been the most thrilling, but they've at least kept you active. So just keep at it. Something has to turn up eventually. Unless, of course, you want to wind up in Riverview Asylum. And if that happens, I'm really not going to keep quiet.
I believe you.
Fine.
Good man. Now, I suggest you stop talking to thin air, or Adelaide's gonna start wondering if you've gone mental. Or just maybe, she'll stop wondering.
Very funny.
Can I shut off that annoying thing, this?
That's a fun little apparatus Adelaide got you. Very soothing.
Watching it
It's
spin
not.
long enough puts me right to sleep.
I'd say that's
Very
really more the
annoying.
soporific's doing.
It's very annoying. This
I
is
always
Adelaide?
like that self-portrait of Adelaide's mother.
Mother.
Even if the eyes do always follow you around the room.
Kinda like the Mona Lisa. Though, I don't want to look at everything because that noise is very annoying and I want to get out of here. So I'm just seeing if there's something that's maybe important, but I don't think there is. Let's get out of this room. Ah,
Well,
Better.
look who's awake. Ready to rejoin the living?
Very much so.
You were talking in your sleep again.
Did I say anything interesting?
Do you ever?
You have to admit, she's got you there.
How are you feeling?
A touch groggy. I think I took a bit too much of the soporific last night.
That's what I thought. When you went for your after-lunch nap, you'd barely gotten breakfast down. I saved you some bread and cheese if you're hungry.
Thank you, but I haven't got much of an appetite.
You really should regulate your doses more carefully, love. I'm sure dull senses and an empty stomach aren't much help to your work. By the way, a message arrived via courier for you this morning. I put it on the table along with today's newspaper.
Thank you, dear.
All right. This is
Do you remember how
us.
much time Adelaide had to spend convincing you to sit for this? At least these days, with ferrotype tech advancing the way it is, these portraits can be done in just a matter of minutes.
I think he's speaking about photographs.
How are your parents doing these days? It's been ages since you wrote them.
Bookcases, ferrotype.
Adelaide's father certainly had an amazing life. Imagine being the personal barber to the Prime Minister and his family. The gossip and secrets he must have heard.
Message. Fordham. A big case has come in which I think will interest you. Meet me at the Rowan Coffee House for more details. Rowan? What does it? I don't know. This looks like a U, but Rowan? Upton. Isn't that my boss?
Upton says she's got a big case for me.
Does she go into any more detail than that?
No, but then you know Upton. Always on a need-to-know basis. Especially since she's been giving me these cases under the table.
To be fair, they haven't exactly been anything of note.
True, but she's still sticking her neck out for me. I can understand why she's so secretive about it.
I think she just misses having you around the station.
Poor Connie. With you quitting and me dying, she must be bored stiff at work.
Anyway,
Quitting.
I'm supposed to meet her at the Ruin Coffee House. That can't be right.
It's not like Constance to make mistakes. She must have gotten in somehow.
Guess I'll head over there and see what she's got then.
So I'm doing cases even though I'm not with the force anymore. Newspaper? Do I have to read all of this? Wait. Let's see if there's something in. Second bizarre murder baffles police. This might be interesting. New Breton police are investigating a murder in... I don't know. I forgot how to say it. Chamontley? Similar to one which occurred in their borough just last month. Though many details are confidential at this time, we are able to confirm that both victims have been male and died from gunshot wounds. New Breton police declined to reveal any further details and denied rumors that the murders are being committed by a serial killer. We have no reason to believe that these murders are related, said Chief of Police Reginald Snelling. See, that was my boss, Snelling. We have our finest detectives on the case and hope to find whoever perpetrated these awful crimes very soon. In the meantime, we ask the citizens of New Breton, especially those in Chamontley, to remain vigilant and report any and all suspicious activity immediately to a police officer. Coverage will continue as the story unfolds. A Grand Dame dies. Age 44. That's not that old. Natural causes. Is this important? I don't know. I'm just reading it very quickly. Great humanitarian. Alright, and this is the tragic crash. Voyage, when is this? Airship. Oh, is that maybe the airship we saw in the sky? 300 passengers were killed. Right, so I think that the murder thingy was the most important.
Ah, the Havisham case. Our first time out as partners. First in a long line of successful cases. It's nice to have a memory of the good old days.
Let's check our casebook. So I need to go to the coffee house. Why do I have that? Both? Oh, no, it's just the documents. Alright. Let's go there. I don't know how this works if you have a map.
I'm heading out for now.
I look forward to your return.
Really? That doesn't sound like it. Yeah, we do. So we are here. This is our face. Okay, I'm just looking around what we have. So this is Chamontley, or I really don't know how to say that. I don't. Gascon, Worcester, Lyon, and the Swamp. So I guess we'll just go here.
Ah, the Rouen Coffee House. Worst Java in Lamplight City, but there's no better place to overhear all the rumors and gossip in town. Just make sure you don't get too close to the other patrons. Discretion was never your forte.
All these flies.
Not in much of a hurry to clean up in here, are they?
So these are all patrons. This is my contact, Constance.
If it isn't my old friend, up to no good.
Hello, Fordham. It's good to see you.
Up to
How
no
did you
good.
get them to let you in here?
It's rather simple, really. The owner and I have an understanding. He pretends women are allowed in coffee houses, and I don't report his unsavory business practices to Chief Snelling.
Sounds like a good deal. What sort of unsavory business practices are we talking about?
Oh, we haven't got time to get into that now. But take some advice. Don't order anything that isn't water.
I don't know. Does it matter what I choose?
I got your message. What's going on?
It's time for you to join the big boys again, Fordham. Your days of finding lost cats are over.
Lost
So
cat.
stop teasing me and tell me what it is already.
Do you know Madame Laura Dupre?
Isn't that from the newspaper, the lady who died?
Laura Dupre. She's one of those Gascon Grand Dames, isn't she?
That's right. I'm surprised you've heard of her. I didn't think you cared about those types of people.
I don't, but Adelaide has several of them as clients. She gets paid to pretend to care about their lives, and I get to hear the sordid details.
Madame Dupre died the day before yesterday. Her funeral was held this morning.
Yeah, I read about that.
My condolences.
But halfway through the service, the mourners heard a loud knocking coming from inside her coffin.
Whoops.
She wasn't dead?
Apparently not. Merely interred alive, although her doctor swears she had no pulse. Dupre's son Andrew was quick to suspect foul play. He accused a man named Albert Martin, and the police arrested him.
So where do I come in? Sounds like the case has already been solved.
I strongly suspect that Martin is innocent, especially considering the talk of him having used black magic on Dupre. The police feel they have enough evidence to convict, so they're not bothering to investigate any further. You're going to look into it and see if I'm right. Then find the person who was really behind this.
And if I'm not, why not just ask her? Because maybe she has not recovered, that's better to ask.
Has Madame Dupre recovered from her ordeal?
I'm afraid not. Apparently she's been catatonic since they pulled her out of the coffin.
I can get
How
that.
unfortunate.
If you'd like to question Mr. Martin, he's being held at the Bow Street Jail. Or you could take a look around his house. It's at 451 Compton Street in Worcester.
Or,
And the Dupre home?
That's at Emmeline and Comtesse, right across from the old Angeline convent. It's also possible you might run into the police during your investigation, since they're technically still on the case.
Thanks for the warning.
that doesn't mean that...
Was there anything you wanted to talk about before you get started?
Questions. If I choose one location, then the other will disappear or something like that. I don't really know. I remember the developer saying something about that you had to do something in one location so you can do something in the next, or I don't know. I don't remember it.
Yes, actually, I had a couple of questions.
Let's
Apparently
hear
I
them
don't.
then.
Review case? What does this mean?
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
Oh, nothing.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
Herself? Bill's dead?
Don't suppose there have been any developments regarding Bill's murder.
Unfortunately not. The department hasn't exactly been focusing on that case as a priority. The general attitude is that it was an accident. Bill died an honorable death in the line of duty.
Would have been nice if they bothered saying that at the funeral.
And of course, there are still those who blame you for his death, Snelling being the first and foremost.
But the man who really caused Bill's death is still out there.
Yes, I know, but it looks like you're on your own if you want to find him. My hands are tied. I can only ask around so much before the higher-ups get suspicious. Just don't give up. New Britannia may be a big city, but the criminal world is surprisingly close-knit. If you find any connections or leads during your other cases, be sure and let me know. I'll do the same if I find anything out.
See,
Oh.
she has a priority stream. You could learn a lot from up there.
So I can come back to her. So basically, is this the game telling me that I need to solve cases, and during those cases I will find out more about Bill's death, and I can keep coming back to her to talk about it. Also, this is the first time I'm seeing him close up again, and he looks way worse than he did before everything happened. Do I want to know about her? Not really.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to help you find the flower shop burglar,
Me neither.
but I suppose freeing an innocent man is a worthy diversion.
Do I want to look at something?
A young woman holding a guitar. Completely the wrong way, I might add. If this is how they store their coffee beans, it's probably a better idea to ask for tea. She's running back and forth at lightning speed. Clearly, she dips into the coffee supply.
Alright, let's just leave, because I don't think this is anything of use. It's just for fun. They added that in. So I can go to the Dupree Manor, which is where the lady is. Well, they call her the old lady, but she was 44. It's not that old. The jail. This is the old way of spelling the word jail. Which is funny because I'm playing Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, and in that one they are also writing jail like that. And I was like, when I first read it without voice acting, I was like, what is that word? But apparently they used to spell it like that, and nowadays they spell it differently, as you probably know. Compton Street, so this is where he lives. So I'm thinking about either going to the jail or to his home. Why not his home? I hope it doesn't really matter.
Compton Street. We're not too far from Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.
Nag me about. Yeah, he doesn't eat that well. Restaurant?
Bonbon's Restaurant. I never got a chance to go there, but I hear their deviled eggs are simply to die for.
Butcher shop.
Considering how many eating establishments are in this neighborhood, the butcher picked a fantastic spot to set up shop. I do notice a distinct lack of stray cats in this neighborhood, though.
Does that mean? Does he mean that he's serving cats?
I'm glad that Coulson still uses horses. I don't trust the new self-driving cabs.
Self-driving cabs. Right. Well, let's just go in. If we can.
I'm sorry, I have no time for visitors today.
I'll be on my way. Let's just say this.
I need to speak with you about Albert Martin.
Albert? Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
Oh, I don't think you can help. I'm sorry.
Sorry to bother you. I'll be on my way.
Good day to you, sir.
Oh, so this is closed off. Alright. So I need to go somewhere else first. This is what the game is telling me. Maybe speak with him first. Is that maybe a better way to start? I think this is him.
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something a cat spat up.
Hello, Giles. It's lovely to see you too.
What brings you round the jail? I thought you'd quit being a detective.
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Albert Martin.
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of racist. But isn't this also way back in time when they were racist like this? Can look at him.
He's watching you like a hawk. Looks liable to toss you in one of his cells if you try any funny business.
Alright, so don't do anything funny.
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
Nope.
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham.
I'm here to help
I'm a private
you.
investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
That's true. So basically he's saying that the lawyer is not here to help him. And I don't know if we can help him because I believe if you make the wrong choices, you will get hanged anyway. So hopefully I do it right.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy right now, Mr. Martin.
No, I agree with that.
Do you know anything about the circumstances of Madame Dupre's supposed death?
No, I had nothing to do with it.
Then why did her son accuse you?
Probably because he's just as ignorant as she is.
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you? Have you had any contact with the family before?
Yes, you could say that.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye says it all.
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter, Juliet Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened me once.
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that woman is the devil incarnate. I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel could have spawned someone as pure and, loving as my dear Juliet.
He's not really helping his case much, is he?
No. But then he probably is innocent, or else he wouldn't say these things.
Tell me about Juliet.
She's wonderful. Such a beautiful, kind soul.
Where is she
She
then?
hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all the confusion in the last few days.
I doubt it.
Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of harming her mother. I'm sure of it.
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmates?
Hardly. They wouldn't allow someone like me to enroll there. Juliet studies botany. I work as an assistant in the greenhouse. We started talking, and she actually treated me like a person. To everyone else, I was just the boy who fetched the test tubes. But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say, had the same taste in books and art, didn't just treat me like some piece of gardening equipment. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just got better.
And now you're
I
in jail.
don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a bar.
And she's...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to have me released.
Somehow, I wouldn't bet on that.
No, I think she's there. She's there in the greenhouse. I don't know. I have time speaking today. I think the S's are tripping me up somehow.
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home when the police showed up with no warning. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse on Madame Dupre. The next thing I knew, I was here. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with worry. I just hope she's all right.
So that's who we saw. Mother?
What does your mother do, Mr. Martin?
She helps people.
So black
I
magic.
was hoping you'd be just a bit more specific.
Voodoo or voodoo?
She provides spiritual help to those who seek guidance.
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... how can I explain it? You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word of God to the people? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religious leader?
If you want to give her that title, it would be the most appropriate.
And does this religion of yours have a name?
You'd probably know it as voodoo, but it doesn't mean what you think it does. People are so quick to judge and portray us as evil when they have no idea.
Let's ask about the voodoo.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun of me, Mr. Fordham?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved in Madame Dupre's apparent death.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in devil worship and the black arts. But I can assure you that this is most certainly not the case, Mr. Fordham.
No need to
Of
yell.
course, I didn't mean to imply.
Just forget it.
That's all for now.
You're hurting
Wait,
my ears.
before you go, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451 Compton Street, right?
Yeah, we were just there.
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's
Whatever
not
happened
weird.
to a simple I love you?
He's kind of suspicious though. Something's going on with this guy. Empty cell, empty cell. Let's just go. I don't think there's much to do here at the jail. Or maybe I should have checked my casebook. University? This is where his lover girl is. I can go to his mother or the manor. Let's go to his mother first, because I need to give that message. And maybe she will give me more information.
You again? I told you I have no time for visitors.
I have a message.
You're Albert Martin's mother, aren't you?
Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I spoke with Albert, and he told me to give you a message. He said to tell you that St. Rock's dog is barking.
Oh, I see. That's good. That's very good. You better come in, Mr. Fordham. Standing on the street just won't do.
Alright, that's weird. Are you not gonna explain anything?
Welcome to my home, Mr. Fordham. I am Sabine Martin. I hope you understand that Albert has nothing to do with this awful business.
Not sure yet.
Would you care for some tea?
Well, her tune certainly changed when you gave her that message. I wonder what it meant.
Me too.
No, thank you, ma'am. I won't be staying long.
What's St. Roke's? It sounds like a place. I can do something with the curtain. That's weird.
I'm afraid that room is private, Mr. Fordham. I must respectfully ask you to not go in there.
Oh, I thought it
Of
was
course.
a window.
My apologies.
But it's a room, so I need to get rid of her so I can go there.
It's some old man with a dog standing at the center of a crossroads. If that's meant to have any sort of significance, it's completely lost on me. That pattern resembles a flower. Too bad it isn't an Easter lily. Interesting. Those pots look as though they've been wrapped in tobacco leaves.
Maybe they have.
A rather unremarkable book collection, I'm sorry to say. That statue, on the other hand, gives me the willies.
This statue?
For all we know, that rider is some sort of demon. He looks like he's having a good time, at least.
Can I go anywhere else? No, because... Oh, I can speak to her, of course.
The Virgin Mary? I must admit, she was the last person I was expecting to see in here.
So do I maybe need to ask for tea and then enter that room, or will she kick me out if I do?
I've got a few questions for you, Mrs. Martin.
I'll try to answer them the best I can.
Ask for tea. See, I think I need to do that, but let's first speak about the other things before she gets angry and I can't anymore.
Do you think your son is capable of doing what he stands accused of?
Never. Albert wouldn't harm a fly.
That's what the mothers always say.
That's what I wanted to say.
Why don't you tell me a bit more about him then?
He started working at the university laboratory a few years ago. I was so proud of him. The university is quite selective, you know. The same for its staff as well as its students.
Yes, I've gotten that impression.
I always told Albert to be careful around those high society types, but that one always thinks with his heart first.
Is she sure that's the correct body part?
He's all the family I have, Mr. Fordham.
So I got more. What about the message?
If you'll indulge my curiosity, what exactly was the meaning of Albert's message?
Saint Rock is the patron saint of dogs, as well as the falsely accused. If he sent the message along with you, it means he trusts you, and that I should too.
All right.
I see.
Perhaps you were hoping for something more?
Yes.
That's just the way of mysteries, isn't it?
How do you mean?
The thrill of the unknown is always more exciting than the truth. Mystery makes life a little more interesting.
True, but if mysteries were really better unsolved, I wouldn't have a job.
Also true. Or she's not telling the truth, or not everything.
Do you know anything about Madame Laura Dupre?
I never met her in person, but I know plenty about her.
Like what?
Nothing fit for a polite conversation, Mr. Fordham. But I can tell you this. Laura Dupre has far more enemies than she lets on.
Does that include you or your son?
It most certainly does not.
Are you sure? Because he's in jail because of her, so I would not like that as a mother.
What do you know about Juliette, Madame Dupre's daughter?
I know Albert was smitten with her, no matter that I told him to be very careful around her kind. Those rich Creole families don't care much for people like us. To them, we're just a help. But from his telling, Juliet sounded to be a decent soul. It's a shame the same can't be said for her kin.
And also, why isn't she visiting him in jail if she's really into him? So I don't think... Maybe she played a part or something or used him.
What exactly is it you do, Mrs. Martin?
I provide services to the public.
A delightfully vague answer
Vague,
if there ever
yeah.
was one. Give me something a bit more specific, please.
I'm a mambo asugwe. That means I'm what you call a voodoo queen. I'd give you a detailed explanation of the responsibilities and duties of the role, but your time would be better spent clearing my son's name.
Why? That is interesting to know.
Can you tell me a bit more about your religious practices?
What I can tell you is that the ignorant whites in this city are afraid of us for no reason. Voodoo is not about black magic or dark spells or turning people into the living dead. It's about healing and life. Naturally, there are misguided souls who may try to use it for ill purposes, but I am not one of those.
Sounds like you hit a sore spot. might be a good idea to stop pressing her on this angle.
Really? Oh, does that mean that I can make mistakes by asking certain things? Let's ask for
I
tea.
think I'll take you up on your offer for tea, after all.
All right, Mr. Fordham. You'll have to give me a few minutes to heat up the kettle. I'll be back shortly.
Great, let's see if I can enter that room without getting into trouble. Maybe I should have saved first. Oops.
Amazing! Even more voodoo stuff back there. Why would she keep these particular items hidden from view?
Good question.
They obviously have some importance to her. I'd suggest asking, but I don't know if that's the best idea given how sensitive she seems to be about the subject.
So probably not. So what then?
The tea should be ready in a few minutes, Mr. Fordham. You can help yourself once it's done.
You're very kind, Mrs. Martin.
What do you mean? Help yourself. Now what? Should I just leave? I don't know. I'm just going by.
Aren't you going to have your tea, Mr. Fordham?
I'm afraid I just remembered something important I need to look into. Perhaps later.
Suit yourself.
What you want to do? You just want me to stand around there? So we've been here and here. Let's go speak to the girlfriend. Or the man, I don't know. No, let's go here. I hope it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's as though we've journeyed to the tropics. I don't know how you can stand to keep that coat on in here.
And I remembered that you can get stuck speaking to her. So I hope that does not happen, but could be.
Quite the assortment of plants they keep in here. I wonder if they serve any purpose or are just meant to look pretty. Those flowers are definitely not native to this area. They seem to be thriving in their glass tubes, though. They're one of those cute little Japanese trees that are all the rage these days. Personally, I don't see how giving a tree a haircut is meant to be relaxing.
Pardon the disturbance, but are you Juliet Montgomery?
I am. And you are?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into the events surrounding your mother's attempted murder.
Ah, of course.
Have you got time to answer some questions?
Yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
Let's start with this.
Do you know anything about the events leading up to your mother's premature interment?
No, it was a complete shock. Mother seemed to be perfectly healthy and full of life. Then, without warning, she was dead. Or so we thought.
I take it you were glad to be wrong?
What a ridiculous question. Of course I was.
Liar.
What sort of heartless beast would celebrate their mother's death?
Oh, I could name a few. Juliet definitely didn't shed any tears over Madame Dupre, though. That much is obvious.
Miss Montgomery, you don't have to lie to me. I'm not going to assume you tried killing your mother just because you weren't upset by her death.
I felt terrible about it. You have to understand, I didn't want her to be dead. I just felt a sense of relief. Please, don't think me a horrible person, Mr. Fordham. It's just that Mother and I aren't currently on the best of terms.
Is that relationship, do they mean with her mother?
Why don't you and your mother get along?
We've never completely seen eye to eye on anything. She always disapproved of anything I did. When I was younger, she used to forbid me from speaking to the servants. I saw no harm in a kind word or smile, but she warned us that if we were too familiar, they would take liberties. Then when I declared my intentions to pursue academic studies, she really went livid. In her opinion, a university education was tantamount to a chastity belt. What sort of man would want a wife with a head full of useless facts, she'd say.
Personally, I've always found intelligence to be quite attractive.
I assume your mother didn't approve of your involvement with Mr. Martin?
A rather forward question, Mr. Fordham. But you're not mistaken.
It's obvious.
I'm not sure how she managed to find out about Albert and me, but when she did, she nearly had a conniption. As I'm sure you can understand, the situation at home has been less than perfect in the last few months. I'd really rather not dwell on it.
So she still lives at home. What about the servants?
You mentioned you were friends with the servants.
Yes, that's right. I didn't care that they worked for us. Everyone needs a friend.
Did your mother ever mistreat them?
Mistreat? No, I wouldn't say so. She was always very stern, though, and quite cold. If they ever shirked their duties or misbehaved, they were punished, of course, but nothing out of the ordinary that I ever saw. Most of the servants are my friends, but I'm closest with Amelie, the kitchen maid. Mother wasn't too happy about that. Amelie's been around as long as I can remember. She's like the aunt I never had.
So I need to speak with her. So I think I need to go to the mansion and speak with that Emily.
What can you tell me about Albert Martin?
I'm not quite sure where to begin.
Why not start by telling me what your relationship with him was?
We met here at the greenhouse. He was working as an assistant, sweeping and cleaning and fetching things for the students. My focus was on academics, naturally. I wasn't too interested in romance. In fact, I've had to turn away nearly every single one of my classmates. But with Albert, I found myself intrigued. I noticed him stealing glances, lingering just a bit too long after bringing over a book or flask, sweeping the same patch of floor near me over and over again. It wasn't too long before I had him bringing me tools and equipment, regularly.
I see.
As I mentioned, Mother was an absolute terror when she found out.
Do you believe Mr. Martin did what he stands accused of?
I'm not entirely sure.
Interesting.
It doesn't seem like him, but Albert can be quite passionate. If the police believe he's to blame, then they must have a reason for it. It wasn't any secret that he hated Mother. Perhaps I should have ended things sooner. It was satisfying to know that Mother was displeased, but I never imagined it would lead to something like this.
Well, it's nice to see she's all heart.
I agree. So she doesn't really get that much about him then.
So, you study botany. Fascinating subject.
Are you an admirer of plants, Mr. Fordham?
My wife has the green thumb in the household, but I do have a certain appreciation for them.
Plants are amazing things, just like people in many ways.
How do you mean?
They need attention and care. Ignore a plant, and it will wither. Give it too much attention, and it will become sick. Plants have many things to teach us, and I greatly enjoy learning from them.
Alright, so now we're gonna speak about plants apparently, because we don't have a case to solve.
These plants are impressive. Are they yours?
Yes, I've developed a method to make them extra healthy and strong.
They're larger than anything I've ever seen. How do you do it?
Ah, but I can't reveal my secrets, Mr. Fordham. The world will hear about my discoveries soon enough.
Incidentally, do you know anything about Easter lilies?
No, I don't keep or grow those here.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Alright, so like I said, to solve the mystery of Bill dying, or the guy who was, I don't know how do you say it, stealing plants, but not really. We have to just solve these cases, and it's like a red thread throughout everything that will come back. I think we need to get back to her at one point. First we need to maybe go to the house. The manor.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
I am.
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
Seems like this doctor has a lot of power. He could easily drug everyone around him.
Her eyes are glazed over, and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person.
No, that's catatonic.
This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes.
That is how mosquitoes breed. So I can speak with him, or just go inside and speak with the son, which has been drugged, which is kind of weird. And
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him.
I agree with that. He didn't give him a mild sedative, more like a drug.
What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupreys a cool copper. Duprey looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
I can go to the kitchen, I can go upstairs. I don't know. Oh, the kitchen is where the maid is, maybe. That Emily, what was her name? Yes. Maybe she can tell us about the daughter, see if there's anything else. It's not all that interesting, I think. I don't know.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Emily, please.
Amelie, please. I need to know what you know about Madame Dupre.
What? How did you know my name?
I'm a detective, it's what I do. No, let's just be honest.
Juliet told me about you.
Miss Juliet?
Yes, I spoke to her at the university. She mentioned you two were friends.
Yes, that's right. She's always been so good to me.
Look, Amelie, I'm just trying to get some information. And I have a feeling you can be very helpful if you just let me talk to you.
All right, fine. But do it as fast as you can.
Great, so I had to talk to that Juliet before I could do this. So that is how you open up conversations.
Tell me about Madame Dupre.
Oh, I really shouldn't, sir.
It would greatly help my investigation if you did.
Madame Dupre was kind enough to hire me as her cook. It's hard to get jobs in the city. Lots of people want their servants to use those new machines. My sister's brother-in-law got half his leg blown off by one of those new ovens. He's lucky he wasn't killed. So I'm plenty happy working here doing real people's work. But Madam can be difficult sometimes.
Difficult? What do you mean by that?
No, I said enough.
Say more, I need to know everything.
What do you know about Madame Dupre's supposed death?
All I can tell you is that whoever did it really hated her.
Do you know Albert Martin, the man accused of the crime?
No, I'm sorry.
No, why would she?
What can you tell me about Andrew?
He ain't so bad. Kinda spoiled, but he mostly cleans up after himself. Has a whole private part of the house, but I think he only uses one room. Better for me, way less to clean.
So she cleans and cooks.
What do you know about Juliet?
She was always so kind to me and the others, but her mother don't like that one bit. Still, she sneaks down into the kitchen to keep me company some nights. Even though she's a good soul, I think part of her does it just to spite her mother.
Let's speak about you.
Are you the only remaining servant here?
No, there's another one, Marcel. He's the new gardener. I haven't seen him in a few days, though. Not since before Madame's incident.
Interesting.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Now please, let me get back to work.
You do that. I need to find the gardener.
Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe.
So we just spoke to this lady, and I can look at everything.
It's times like these make me wish I could still eat.
But do I want to?
Certainly no shortage of bowls or food preparation items around here.
No, he's just gonna comment on everything.
Judging by the amount of food this family probably eats, washing the...
Alright. Let's go speak to that son, and I believe we can also go upstairs, right? Because we haven't spoken to him yet, and I want to speak to the parrot. Oh, I can speak to the parrot. Did I do that?
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
What a weird parrot.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey.
What?
So long, birdie.
Maybe let's
Bye-bye.
do something with that bird at one point. Let's speak to Andrew.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
So this is what he looks like. Very different. What about the parrot?
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered
Ooh,
what he might taste like. Is that bad, do you think?
a little.
I really couldn't say, Mr. Montgomery.
Yeah, you could. Liar. When people look away like that, they're usually lying.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
That's convenient. Why does he have these long sideburns, by the way?
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
To be fair, that wasn't a lie the way he's looking, but I think he's annoyed by him. He seems kind of like a psychopath or something.
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
I'm reminded of a famous quote, Mr. Fordham. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Let us part on good terms and avoid the subject altogether, please.
Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for yours.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state.
I agree
If it
with
takes
that.
him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Alright, so that's what I have to do. But didn't that quack drug him? So upstairs. He won't help me, I don't think. Or he might. Thank you for watching. Curious what happens next? Subscribe to my page so you don't miss anything.